Everyone is giving their all. Everyone. It's beautiful to see this situation. The bloggers from Inacio are trying to figure out who Malu Gaspar's source is. Andre Esteves, Daniel Vercaro, and now Galipo. He tells the press, to all of Brazil, that, look, it wasn't about the so-called magnificent one. But Lula's bloggers are accusing him of being Malu Gaspar's source. And the one who nominated him to the central bank, Lula, would be Lula. Behind all of this, Xandão starts scheming. I who brought him here, he's betraying me behind my back, and then comes Gleen Greenwald. He just published more revealing news. But it's a blow. A bunch. He's hitting back at everything that's happening because he's still outraged, because of the lava toga, right? The report he did wasn't aired because Fola pressured them, but now they're all together and mixed up. Fola, Globo, all of them exposing things. Could it have been the deal with Magnifico? I'll show you everything here. Hit the like button, hit the like button. The impeachment of Alexandre Moraes has never been so close. One fell, then another. I'll show you. Join our family by subscribing to the channel, friends. Before we start here, just a quick reminder. We have Slim Fervor, right? Available for everyone. Buy. It's a natural weight loss. You'll use it especially during these end-of-year parties. Buy. Sometimes we end up going a little overboard, right? Sometimes we eat a little more and all, right? And we always get that worry, right? What do we do to lose inches, to lose weight? This product helped me lose over 20 kilos, and everyone asks about it, says Fabiano Guiguet. Wow, you lost weight fast. Yes, my friends, a lot of willpower. And a product that helps. It's a little powder, look, it's a little powder that you take and mix in water. It tastes like orange juice, it's like a tang, right? It's similar, and it suppresses hunger, right? You feel less hungry, right? Soon you'll be able to lose weight. If I can do it, my friends, I'm living proof. A few months ago, look at these photos. Look at these images. Me and a friend of mine, right? We were together. You were chubby, Fabiano. It had been a while since he saw me. We met yesterday. Gilberto is a great guy. Big hug to him. Fabiano, you were chubby. Did you lose weight? I said like this. Look, it's Slim Ferv, right? Since I'm there every day, right? Promoting a great product on the channel for those who want to lose weight more easily. Peace of mind. We know it's hard. It's hard. I eat every day, and I wasn't able to lose weight. Slim Ferv is what helped me, right? To lose over 20 kilos. The link is right here below for everyone who wants to take advantage and get ready for summer, looking slim, right? It's really cool. It gives you a huge quality of life. My friends, a lot of quality of life. I mentioned this the other day. Now is a time when the guys, my friends, should be united without rest, leaving their bases. They're already filing, making things happen here with impeachment. A situation like this has never happened before. Magno Malta talks about this.
I'm going to Brasilia. We all must go. Brazil is on fire, the country is on fire, and it's going to go on recess. It's going to stop.
The time is now. What does our dear senator suggest? Magno Malta. Where are the representatives, the senators? There's no majority, but you have to be there, because the House is falling apart, guys. Here, Malu, Gaspar, look at this. Globo News reports that Daniel Vorkar's Banco Master cell phone is a bombshell, and the data is already with the federal police, and it affects politicians, even the Supreme Court. Maybe that explains the secrecy and the pressure on central bank technicians? By order of Toffoli.
Look, there's some really strange, really bizarre reason, because this is yet another bizarre decision by Minister Dias Toffoli in this case, on top of all the others we've already seen.
Look at how Globo is talking about Malu Gaspar. She's being extremely attacked by the left. Activists are making all kinds of threats. The decision is bizarre. But then Lula's cronies show up here. Galípolo is Malu Gaspar's source, he says. Joaquim Carvalho. This Joaquim Carvalho was the one who made that documentary saying that Bolsonaro wasn't stabbed. It's here on Brazil 247 Look, in a debate with several of their people, okay? The journalist Joaquim Carvalho stated that Gabriel Galípolo, president of the central bank, would be Malu Gaspar's source. Could he be betraying Xandão because he says it was about Magnitsky? But to Malu Gaspar, he says, look, this and that happened. And if he's the one talking, Malu Gaspar has everything in her hands, huh? Because he was going to tell Malu Gaspar it happened. But I need proof, and she'll reveal it at the right time. The statement appears at the moment when the show was discussing the escalation of tensions surrounding the accusations revealed by Malu Gaspar, and the way she started publicly demanding a statement from Galípolo himself for Joaquim Carvalho. The fact that the columnist directed a direct challenge to the president of the central bank would be an indication that the source of the information is the head of the monetary authority himself. The source is Galípolo, he states. He claimed the central bank president was ambiguous, publicly denying moral pressure while privately admitting there was dialogue about the case. He said he wasn't pressured, but added, "Don't publish this. I'm telling you, but don't publish it." Man, they're exposing each other, Greenwald, which I found more interesting. Look, the guys are saying, there's impeachment. Look, Xandão's impeachment today. It could be Lula's tomorrow, he knows. If one falls, they all fall. If one falls, they all fall. But I found it intriguing, and here Gleen has several reports. He's showing, look, he posted this little game that Moraes' supporters are making. We just want to see proof. There isn't any yet. It's dishonest and ignorant. First, the Constitution protects the confidentiality of sources, because it is and always will be a vital method for journalistic investigation. Second, when the journalist, from different outlets, including those trusted by the left, they claim to have multiple sources confirming conversations between Moraes and the president of the central bank, as well as about Banco Master. This alone constitutes strong evidence. Third, the only evidence they would accept would be a recording of Moraes talking to the central bank about Banco Master. This is an absurd standard, but even if such recordings appeared, Moraes would immediately arrest those involved. Just like he tries to arrest whoever he believes is the source of the leak we did about him in the newspaper. Malu Gaspar, Monica Bergo, Xandão, and even Daniela Lima to confirm these conversations. We have a substantial amount of evidence. Look at what he says here, even more serious than Moraes. Open your phone records like you force others to do. Let him show the details of his wife and children's contract with Banco Master, and the work that would justify a payment of 130 million reais. The central bank says it has never discussed the subject with him. We'll see all the evidence we need. The guy is suggesting here, Gleen, that Moraes should lift the phone records, but he won't do that. And the businessmen, the biggest businessmen in the country, are raising concerns here about the reputation of the Supreme Court, the biggest businessmen in the country. Here, look how interesting this is. The banks would be behind this operation, especially the mastermind Sir André Esteves. They're just shifting blame. Forum Magazine, APRO, Partido dos Trabalhadores, blog we support, Brasil 247. Gleen posted, "It's really funny how the left now pretends to be against the bankers, when in reality, the left is defending their hero, whose wife and children received an obscene 130 million contract from a corrupt bank." Man, he kept going. The idea that the left only cares about journalistic evidence is hilarious. In 2024, we published 16 forum articles using Moraes' office archive. They showed his abuses of power to persecute enemies and political critics. The left defended them. He sent screenshots as proof. A confidential case shows Moraes made errors and contradictions using the Superior Electoral Court Agency, targeting and requesting report changes against Bolsonaro supporters, according to messages. Taliaferro said that in Revista Oeste, he only found posts from journalists who weren't saying anything and asked what he should put in the report then. Ayrton, the judge assisting Moraes, says to be creative and select a statement or a stronger opinion. The minister understood that he is overstepping based on what was sent, and secret messages make it clear. Moraes' investigator, prosecutor, and judge. He didn't stop. Spain, Interpol, and the United States repeatedly rejected Moraes' extradition requests from Biden because they are political and based on the criminalization of opinions. So far, only the person Moraes accuses as the source has been punished. These guys are trying to cover things up, and it was obvious that the only person who is defending the minister is her, Daniela Lima. She does it all, and Gleen destroyed Daniela Lima. Internet user João Luiz Mawad commented, amid so many scandals and abuses, Fachin is the problem with his push for a code of ethics. He's trying to establish it to prevent these issues from recurring. At least that's what the spokesperson for the judges says. Look, Daniela, internal division in the Supreme Court is escalating, reaching crisis levels and isolating Fachin. In other words, the justices are trying to isolate Fachin. Gleen took a stand. Only the Supreme Court judge supporting a code of ethics is isolated, not those tied to scandals and abuses. That says everything you need to know about the current Supreme Court. All this information from Gleen is making waves in the international press, in other words, abroad. All of this is being exposed out there. Attacks on Malu Gaspar continue. Daniela Lima is clearly taking sides, trying to defend the minister since she has always been the spokesperson for the regime. Look at everyone reacting. The minister, uninvolved in alleged scandals, was isolated. The influencer blogger says some ministers are upset with Fachin for not defending his colleagues, and they even take the opportunity to talk about a code of conduct. There's more. Daniela Lima is desperate. Look around. She even recorded a video during her vacation to try to cover up the situation. She's trying everything she can because she was the only one at Globo who used to get inside information from all these ministers. And she would even laugh, mock, and make fun. It's getting ugly here.
The video can and will be used against us in court. I'll be as meticulous as possible.
Is everything okay there? The house has fallen for everyone. It's only a matter of time. And the left looks at the attacks. See how good it is to be on the left. A man can insult a woman or even put her in a meat grinder and nothing happens. Xandão will frame him in the fake news inquiry. Why is Malu Gaspar from Globo being attacked because of the report she's doing? Tibra Logio, the bum here, put that fool Malu Gaspar. Today she didn't show up on Globo News. On Globo Crap News, there were so many statements without proof, based on someone telling me. People are attacking Malu Gaspar. She was the world's best journalist until yesterday. They put her through a grinder. For much less than that, many people have been arrested. He's gonna have the guy arrested right here, right now. He'll be arrested for the attacks the guy is committing. See how things are and how hypocritical they are, right? How much people paid, including in the most cruel and bloody way possible, for much less than that. And people trying to defend Daniela Lima, like, who would have thought that a journalist from the United States, the country that helped with the 1964 coup, would attack a respected journalist with real sources, like Daniela Lima? People trying to defend the pro-Lula Danny, we know how the people from that shitty country, who attack everyone with bombs and steal their riches, act. Gleen replied, calling Daniela Lima brave for always defending Moraes is like calling a Brit brave for praising the Queen. In every country, there are self-proclaimed journalists who defend the powerful. You can call them many things, but not brave, right? One of them, of course, is Daniela Lima, who would come out of the woodwork just to try to defend Xandão, right? That's obvious, and it's a moment when all this is happening that Flavio Bolsonaro is surging in the polls. With all this that's happening, Flavio gained 8 points in just about a month now, right? Since his campaign started. 8 is already shown by the polling institutes. Some have him even higher. Others, for example, Paraná, a poll that has always been accurate. He's already technically tied. Flavio has surged. And now the trend is for it to get even bigger because they did the polling up until the 22nd now, right? After President Bolsonaro's Christmas endorsement yesterday, things will improve even more. Look at that. Bolsonaro's endorsement boosts Flavio and seriously weakens the other candidates. President Bolsonaro's endorsement of Flavio's candidacy was crucial. He gained 10 percentage points. Compared to the November poll, the senator jumped from 19 to 27, considering the first-round scenario. On the other hand, the official entry of the president's son into the campaign caused the other candidacies to lose strength. The most affected was Romeo Zema, who dropped from 6 to 4, and finally to 3 this month. The trend now is just to go up, 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 up. Especially after all this moment we're seeing with Lula, nobody knows what's going to happen with Chico. No. Lula is nothing. Alexandre de Moraes, nothing. Who's going to the magazine? Look. Flavio Bolsonaro is rising and already threatens Lula in a direct clash, according to a new poll, says Vea. I think the cow has already gone down the drain. And the journalists are going to hammer from now on, and they're going to hammer hard. Look, this crazy woman might bring that so-called proof. There are several here. For sure, she wouldn't publish that without having everything in hand. It'll be interesting to see. It's already happening. Our senators and congressmen should hurry to Brasilia. There's no time to lose. Share this video on WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, my link. Grab the link, zap link, zap link, zap link, and come be part of our family. Don't forget to subscribe here. It's free. It really helps our work a lot. It's happening. It's happening.